Welcome to my first show and tell or walkthrough to one of my rather popular tracks on social media and YouTube, my YouTube channel, Moonlight. So let's have a listen and I'll walk you through how I made this. Let's go. All right, here it is. Moonlight Sonata in synthwave remix, synthwave edition, Moonlight After Dark, whatever. All right, so this is how I do my sessions usually. But in this case, so just a quick story here about how this song came to be, how we are here today, right now. Well, this used to be well, I made this about 7 years ago, 6 years ago. And this is how it started. So I do project alternatives here. As you can see, I switch into sessions within the session, right? And you notice I don't have these plugins anymore. But here's the original, how I started. You know how it goes. But anyways, I'm so old that I don't even have half the software I use. And so I decided 5 years later that you know what, I'm gonna do the full version. I know it's been a while. Here we go. This is what happened. So back here at the rather revisited version, one of the things I wanted to keep is the vibe. I didn't want to lose that vibe at all. I just wanted to maintain what you got in 2019. I kept that going again in 2024. And so I basically just extended the song by adding the central section over here. We'll get to that. So let's break down every single element here. So we got the heart of this is this main synth. Much better. So initially it's just a regular sound. Essentially it's a regular sound from Anna 2, wonderful software by Sonic Academy in collaboration with Slate Digital. Excellent synthesizer and sampler. It's insane. But we're not here to talk about the software. So it's just that preset over here. Kind of like a Jupiter sounding, I'm not wrong, Jupiter synthesizer. And initially it sounded like this and I filtered it out. So just put that, I guess don't sounded like, and I just filtered it around here. You just bringing down, cut off, and I believe the envelope. A little bit goes a long way, doesn't it? And then so I'm kind of built the whole song using Anna 2 and a little bit of Spire at the time. So, oh, and initially the old one was so old, I had built my drums in Ultra Beat, but then later, you know, Drum Machine Designer came out, and now I always use Drum Machine Designer. And so I re-imported my samples back in here. These are my drums. And quite honestly, you can see the processing going on here. There's not much going on except for the kick here. I just made it a little bit fat. Using this EQ, everyone uses this type of EQ. It's a Pultec type of EQ. As you can see here, I'm doing the, as they call it, the Pultec trick, the low end trick, where you boost and cut the same amount almost on the low. You can do the same thing on the high, but in this case, I just did the high without the attenuation. I didn't do that high of a high. And it's so old that I didn't even actually, nowadays, I properly regain things, so I'm not boosting it. As you can see, my old self here working, just cutting down from a limiter, and it sounds like this. Right. Still not the full loudness here and everything, because I'm going to show you. This is, I work in sessions like that where I do my MIDI one session, and then I'll jump. What I call a Prince session is when I turn all these into wave files in place, and I can process them, so on. But anyways, I think I actually did the processing here. There's just some bussing going on in the next printed session. I'll show you what goes on. But then let's dive in a little deeper here. We got this synthesizer. Right, so once again, as I mentioned, this is mostly running everything through Ana 2, which is a synthesizer. And there's this preset here, very nice stuff. So let me show you my edits on it, like this first. Right, now it's... I saw a little bit of envelope work, a little bit on that sustain and release, if I'm not wrong. Have a look here. Yeah, a little bit of that. Mostly sustain. I played around also with the delay, a little bit obvious. Right, so then we got the or opened up melody. I'm doing this on 2 levels, yeah? So I'm doing highs. Kind of like a harpsichord synthesizer, harmonium sounding thing. But that's the preset. I'm pretty sure I didn't do much to it. No, nothing changed. Kind of the same. Basically just as it is. I'm running it through, oh, you'll notice I'm running everything through my console one. As there's nothing like it. This plugin does pretty much everything. It's think of it as an actual console in a big studio, where it's not just a regular console. Like without that drive, everything doesn't feel as 3D as I would like it to. And honestly, looking back at things, it turns up the volume substantially, like 3-4 dB. So I don't know. Of course, when you gain stage, that still sounds pretty good, but I that at the time. But anyways, doing a little bit of filtering around 300. Removing any unwanted rumble that it's kind of inaudible, really. But it adds up, they add up, yeah? And also, I'm kind of bell cutting a little bit up here. That's it, you know? A little bit goes a long way again. There's layer 2. That's a bit more mid-rangey, yeah? Driving it intensely. So before that drive, was quite compressed. Back. Sounds pretty sick when it's open, you know, without the bass cut, but then again, that would just take away from that bass, wouldn't it? So, once again, I got my bass sound here from Ana. And, oh my, I don't know what I did here, but I think I played around, it was maybe a little buzzy. Very small edit, the envelope. And once again, filtering a little bit of that out, compressing, but compressor is on the external sidechain here, which is going to the kick. And so it's, as you can see, intense infinity ratio, yeah? That's what's causing the ducking. I'm not even EQing this. I'm just driving it. Sound fresh out of the box. And Final layer here would be... I gotta love that. So this is an Anna sound over here. God, I don't remember what I did to this, but let's see. Simple OB plug. Oh yeah, so I had uninstalled Anna 2, and apparently the preset is not even here to be found, so it's just running as it is. So I'm unable to show you what I really did to this. I don't think it would be much. Maybe I played a little bit with the envelope and the filter. Not much. Yeah, this is me 6 years ago, and of course playing like that because it's going through the ARP, and but not much going on here. If you open Logic's stock ARP MIDI effect, this is I just did on these chords, and that's pretty simple here. Chordy thing. You'd always try that. Never know what might happen. And finally, just filtering the lows. It may look like I'm doing this twice here, but that's just a visual representation of any EQ going through console 1. So one filter and a high boost around 6K. All right, and then doing some Nexus sounds here for the following section. First off, if you're curious about the sound, you can find it here, of Falling Star. A lot of times I prefer to use wave samples that are, you know, downsweeps or risers and whatever. Just that, yeah. I'm side chaining this to the kick. Looks a little. And we got the... I guess I'm using a synthesizer for this SFX, but you know, it's the same. They're all the same anyway. Make sure they're not too loud like this one. So make sure nothing's as loud as that snare, because that sucks, man. Sounds good here before we master it. Once you master that snare is far up. It's much as the kick, yeah. It's -1 dB. Honestly, nowadays I would probably go as far as like that difference between the kick and snare. Drive it around. I'll just probably run it through a decapitator and EQ it after. I'll probably sit it there and EQ from that point. Yeah, but I'm showing you what already happened. So, and this is what the drums look like. You can see, played by hand, various velocities, but then it loops. This is when the bass comes in, yeah. But I don't know what this need to come in. It's already there. Alright, so we're gonna hear this one in the prints, but you have a look here, I'm side chaining it. Already printed in the next one. I guess the preset left. And basically same exact treatment as the other bass, just sound. We're gonna have a look at it. But they are here. Also different from the main one. It just feels a little filtered. Yeah, it's a little bit different. So let's have a look what I did. So flow to a more envelope. Alright, it's almost the same. And these are Nexus sounds. So, Nexus, one I got here. Not that you can do much editing to the sounds. So what you see is you got a filter mod, delay, reverb, and amp mod. So you can just pretty much play with the filters and ADSR. And of course you got your effects, and sometimes it got layers in there, but you can't really go and change oscillators. You can't do much to it. This is Nexus, yeah. So play it well or just move to the next one. It's called 80s. Doing the same treatment, filters, and honestly, I would filter the highs on that sound. You don't need that, but whatever. Kind of like a trappy bell sound. Comparing that with this, and it's kind of layering well. And that's about it. We finished that section. Right, so it didn't end up like that, did it? Yeah. Right, so we're missing an ozone imager all over the place. So here's the printed session, and before we dive into it, here's the second bass sound that was in there. Got it all wrong. The second bass sound. A Reese 808 for wide bass. Get a little bit fiddly actually, but then I'm dragging, dropping tons of flashes and impacts and risers and breaks. And so how am I processing these? I am doing what they call top-down mix, and I'm processing all these through this kind of multi-processor plugin by Cashmere. One of those Cashmere guys, pretty awesome. And this plugin is pretty helpful, actually. The reason I grabbed this plugin is when it first dropped, they were displaying how it would process various groups. And when I heard it on them synths, I was sold, man. Like, I was sold what that thing does. Granted, it does sound like it's adding a lot of volume, but you can control that from here. But check out what it's doing. Like, that detail knob is crazy what it does. Another final break. So this is the part I added in section. Those were stuck together, but then I created this part. When I introduced this awesome little toy, once again, found in the Slate All Access Pass. What a plugin. So weird, so easy to use. All right, so this is a high pass filter. I think naturally it loads in a low pass. But then what this plugin does, it's pretty interesting. So normally it's just like that. And then you can FX boost it if you'd like. But what it does is you have reverb, chorus, saturation, spread, and phase. So you just activate an effect. And the more you filter, the more the effect. If it's not enough, you can boost it. Yeah. What I'm doing. So it starts here. That's a lot of work done fast. Instead of automating and, adding all these plugins, it's all in one knob here. Great to save time, yeah? That's it, guys. I don't know if I missed anything, but it's all there. I'm doing some mid and side work with the EQ. My first show and tell. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one.